welcome back to another exciting podcast episode of American Pylon. Your host here, Will Mehall, joined by my counterparts, James Thomas Fanning IV, Tyler Combs, and producer Dave, behind all the tech making this possible. Got a lot to talk about, as it's been quite a while since we've actually done a recording. This is Season 2, Episode 10, but I think we've been on hiatus for almost 4 weeks now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a while.
I think it's been a full month.
Had stuff going on.
Yeah, it's been super busy, what with work, and that's pretty much it for me. But yeah, we're excited to be back and broadcasting. But before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at In We Go. For just $10 a month, you can get, for $30 a month, you can get unlimited access to events in and around your city. It's live in Phoenix, Denver, Atlanta, the Tampa Bay area, DC. So if you're into breweries, sporting events, whatever it might be sure to check them out. For $10 a month, if you plug in the promo code Pylon, you do get $10 off that first month. So be sure to check them out.
I'm going to the Braves game on Thursday.
In we go?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to the one on Sunday?
Nope. Sunday's Father's Day.
Yes.
I'm going to be in Tennessee. I did see that you and Natalie invited me to it, though. You know what? In we go, if you guys are listening, and I know you are. It said Will wants you to attend Braves versus Phillies, but then it didn't say which one, and there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
So that was kind of confusing.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely...
something for them to work on.
So I'm going to that game on Sunday, and then I'm going to the Beer Fest.
The Beer Fest. That looks fun. I try to go to this
on Sunday?
No, the one's on Saturday. So I'm...
It's a big Father's Day weekend. Congratulations, Will.
Yeah, well, my parents live out of town.
Saturday is not a Father's
Indiana.
Day, which is pretty exciting for all of us that are not fathers.
Are you heading back home?
Yeah, it's actually my dad. Better or worse, I don't know. Probably worse. He doubles up. It's his birthday and Father's Day on Sunday.
Really?
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So I'm the ultimate gift. I kind of just check off both boxes there. You're welcome, Dad.
That's what I say.
Too,
Since I'm an only child,
so you got a brother, so maybe he
he could do it without you.
Yeah, you could.
I'm an only child, so I'd always tell them, without me, you wouldn't have a Father's Day.
That's what I tell them, but then he's quick to remind me I was the first, and they didn't stop there. They created Brett, and they said, okay, now we've done it.
Yeah, now we've created the perfect son.
Shout out to my brother Brett.
You don't get it right always on that first try. So.
Yeah, keep trying, and then they stopped. So
Will just happens to be the oldest of 4.
Damn. What does that say?
They needed 3 do-overs.
Yeah. Hey, good on you.
Shout out,
good on you, Mom and Dad.
Michael, is that your youngest brother?
Oh yeah, and shout out Jonathan Mehall for getting married.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Between our last recording and this recording, who has been a regular guest on here with some good college football and MLB insights.
It's been always
for
fun
sure.
when we've had him on there.
Yeah.
We've talked about the wedding was pretty fun though. I know I talked to you a little bit. Will and I went to Hootie and the Blowfish last Saturday on In We Go.
Also courtesy of In We Go.
That was really fun. We talked about it at that a little bit.
Yeah, no, the wedding was awesome. It was in downtown Roswell. The venue was great. It was like the perfect size. The DJ was awesome. He was like kind of doing a mashup of popular music, and the beer was good and the wine was good, and they had liquor and food was great. It's like, you can't ask for much more. And obviously,
it
was a lot of fun.
A lot of good. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Great.
So, but
good band or DJ.
They had a DJ, and the dude was playing, like I said, popular stuff, but he was like mashing it up. Mm-hmm. But it was also kind of cool because I hate it when people do that and then they kind of cut the song short. It's like, all right, dude, everybody's into this. We get it that you can mash and stuff, but no, I mean, he let everything play out like pretty well, and
that's fun.
Yeah, it was one wedding that I've been to where like there wasn't ever a lull on the dance floor, which was cool. Mm-hmm. So it was fun.
I felt like Tyler and me and producer Dave attended a wedding the same weekend. Were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, how was that?
It was really fun. Adam was one of our former roommates here, and then his now wife, Carly, got married. Yep. Their dance floor, once it heated up, I felt like it was the same way.
Very fun,
Once everybody got on, and it was pretty hot all the way until the very last song, so that was really fun.
That's key.
Yeah, I don't think we left the dance floor once we got out there. It was a solid hour
and a half,
2 hours. So it was a 5-piece band called Emerald Empire, I think is what it's called. I got their card. They were good, yeah. They were good.
I think they're like a 12-piece band, and you can hire
them. They are. They go
carte.
from like 4 to 15, I believe, because we actually, Melissa and I, the girlfriend and I, went on a double date the other night and talking to a couple just recently married also, used the same band. We're like, oh, how was y'all's band? Band or DJ? Same conversation we're having here. They're like, oh, we had a band called Emerald Empire. They're like, oh, yeah, okay, we just went. They're like, yeah, we did the 15-piece.
15
and I was like,
pieces.
holy crap, yeah. I don't even know what all that includes. David's the musically inclined person.
I can barely name 15 instruments.
It's a lot of coordination.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Seriously.
It also, it's funny to
Triangle.
me. I got to exactly. So I got to thinking about it. Like the guys who are like 9 through 15, or 8 through 15, whatever it is, after a normal band you would have at a wedding. Like, do those guys play that often? Are they kind of like rusty?
I just thought of that. Yeah, they have to go to all the practices, but like they never get paid.
Exactly.
Nobody ever wants like a sousaphone.
Exactly.
I don't even know what a sousaphone is.
And like the French horn over there when you're
Yeah.
belting out Whitney Houston's Dance with Somebody. I don't
Well,
know.
Adam said that was Carly's like main focus.
Was the
Music.
live band?
Yeah,
Well, shout out Carly. We
Yeah.
appreciate you. 'Cause
Thank
that
you,
was
Carly.
really fun.
she wasn't worried about anything else, just the band.
So that's funny. For this couple we went with, which is totally off topic, I know it. There was opposite. She told him the only thing you have to worry about, I'll plan everything else, I'll do colors, everything, all the coordination. You just pick the band. And so I guess that's why he did the bigger band and everything else.
I think as long as you got good drinks and a good band, people are gonna have fun.
They had iced coffee on tap, which was clutch.
Con leche.
Cafe con leche, if you will.
But might have had it
Carly's
going
family's from Cuba.
for a little too long that night after so much iced
Dude,
coffee.
that was fun. I ended
was
up.
a ton
I
of
took.
fun.
I took mine and took it to the bar and mixed it with some Kahlua. They had Kahlua behind the bar
They
and
had
stuff.
Kahlua, and then they'd put whiskey in it if you asked
Yeah,
for it.
it was very well
I'm
done.
a Kahlua guy with my coffee. Whiskey's a little too much for me.
I agree. So anyway, fun weddings all around. It sounds like since we've last recorded. Some chances to suit up and dance and have a good time and celebrate some of our friends and family.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot going on, obviously, with us off the podcast, but that leaves us a lot to talk about on the podcast.
We think.
So,
We hope it is still the off season.
yeah. Well, we're right in the middle of the NBA Finals, and obviously that's been pretty exciting. I know people have mixed feelings about who they're pulling for. It's easy to pull against the Warriors because they're basically an all-star team, but I hate Drake, and it's so painful for me to watch him on the sidelines because he wants so badly to be basically a member of the team.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude.
I can't believe what he gets away with. I know he has a lot of clout, but I didn't know anybody was allowed to be sticking his nose in the. Like, could you imagine if Quavo showed up and tried to get in the coach's huddle with Kirby during a Georgia game?
Yeah. I mean,
Kirby
they're
would
on the
punch him.
sideline, I think.
Yeah, but he stays out of the way.
right.
I mean, he knows his role. In
I
that
totally
whole
agree.
thing.
I do. It is. He's the first. I would argue, celebrity that we've seen kind of cross over and do that. I think Jay-Z's been pretty.
Spike Lee's always done that for the Knicks,
has he?
but he sits
Okay.
in the seats. He
Right.
doesn't get on the court, and he's
Well, that's what I
mostly
mean.
jawing at the other team.
Well, that's what I mean. And then I think Jay-Z does the same thing. Like he's invested in the Nets, and I know he's courtside a pretty good bit, and he's pretty active as far as like being on the sideline and being seen and interacting. But I think as far as
he's a part owner, right?
Yeah.
So
I
that's
guess
a little more.
But so I'm just trying to think of another I don't know, status clout kind of a guy such as Drake. I mean, this is the first, I guess, entertainer or any kind of celebrity I've seen really.
Yeah.
In there with a huddle, in there with a team, jawing with every player, even in the tunnel. Like, if you watch ESPN social media and stuff, they have literally like little 10-second clips of Drake and Draymond Green chirping each other in the tunnel before and after the games and stuff.
Yeah,
It's just
no,
like,
he has
when-
full-on all
Yeah.
access to anywhere in the whole building.
Since when did these celebrities get to, chirp at other players before or after a competition? During? That's like a fan, I guess you can. But getting in a huddle, that's a little unique. Touching the coach,
To me, it's excessive. And again, maybe I'm a Debbie Downer or like a naysayer or whatever, but to me, it's like I turned this on to watch the team and the outcome, and I really couldn't care less about what one particularly affluent fan happens to be doing on the sidelines. So for me, it's more of a distraction than anything. I'm sure that the Raptors organization, it's probably a love-hate relationship because he's brought a lot of publicity to the team. I mean,
his team never wins, though, right? Isn't there the
it's
Drake
the
curse?
Drake curse,
So they should send him to go be a Golden State fan.
well, he's got tattoos of Steph Curry's number and Kevin Durant's number on his arm.
Really?
Yeah, which I thought was a little weird.
I don't like that.
He's a weird dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an artist. He's an entertainer. He's musically
He just
inclined.
seems to always hop around. He has random, like he's a Kentucky
huge
fan
Bama
for some
fan.
reason.
Yeah.
He's a Bama fan. I didn't know
I
that.
don't think he's a Bama fan, but I think he's been seen wearing Bama stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's like anything. I mean, I don't know that he goes and speaks to teams, but teams certainly welcome that kind of clout, and they want that. I'm trying to think of the right word, but they want that around their program. That's exciting to have. Like, we use Quavo to our advantage.
Yeah,
Seeing
but
that on the
Quavo's cool.
sidelines.
Yeah.
I guess Drake's cool,
They're
but I don't
saying
like how
they're
he
saying
bounces
the same
around.
thing.
But Quavo is, grew up
Right.
in Atlanta and is
He's
a
not
Georgia
fair
fan
weather.
through and through.
Yeah.
Drake was not there when we lost to Vanderbilt in 2016. So
It's a joke.
He can't sit with us now.
There's a joke about Drake. I think it was, they always post a picture of him. They'll find some picture of Drake wearing whatever team's gear after they lose. And I think it was after Game of Thrones when the Night King died. Spoilers. They showed Drake with like a Night King face on his sweater. Like, it happens every time. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
That was pretty good.
That's awesome.
There was a picture a few years ago. It was Kobe Bryant's last season. It was during the NBA All-Star game, and it was LeBron guarding Kobe, which could have been such a cool, iconic, like two generations best players. And then there's just like Drake in the middle of it, like jumping up and down wearing like a Looney Tunes jacket or something. And
my gosh.
There were lots of people on ESPN being like, he just ruined what could have been this iconic shot of like a Kobe guarding Michael Jordan to Kobe being guarded by LeBron. Could have like bridged 3 generations or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I like Drake's,
Drake ruined it.
I like Drake's music. I mean, he's got some fun stuff when you're at a party or whatever when someone puts it on. But to that point, there was another situation. I've already forgotten what I was about to say. That he
good
ruined.
Segue.
I don't know.
He ruined something.
Something came to mind. Yeah,
where he's in the middle of something.
Throwing major shade.
Well, you reminded me. Yeah, when he's in the background of that picture. Oh, it was how I didn't think it was very genuine. It was KD getting hurt. They had a whole clip of like Drake reacting to it, like putting his hand over his face and like his hand, like, oh my god, like can't believe this is happening. It just to me it seems so
came like over the top.
It's so over the top to be seen. It's to be seen. It's to look how much I'm invested. Look everyone how I'm invested in these two teams. How much this means to me.
Drake did get his start as an actor.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't his character named Jimmy?
He played a cripple on Degrassi.
Yeah. I always hear someone reference that. I've never actually seen it.
I think his character gets shot at one point.
In the back in a school shooting.
He's in a wheelchair after that.
Yeah. So
it's a very tragic story.
Yeah. I mean, to that point, I know exactly what you're talking about because I saw that same caption. And then, but you also have on the flip side, basically everybody in that arena cheering.
I agree.
Goes on.
Sorry, I was I thought that was cheap. I thought it was very, very classless. I mean,
I don't like that.
It's a really embarrassing move. I mean, there's an angle where Kevin Durant's on the floor and you're seeing him. They're looking at his left side, and behind that is somebody who has floor seats who's standing up, clapping and pointing at him and clapping. And it's like, dude, I mean, I get it, right? You're in the NBA Finals. Everybody's riled up. KD is an easy player to hate. He obviously took an easy route, but the fact of the matter is that somebody's health and well-being, and you can't ever let it get that far.
Is this the guy you're talking about?
No, it was another dude. He looked. It would have been like on this side. Basically, we're looking at pictures of the angle.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, nobody can see what we're looking at. Yeah. But I'm just looking at photos from Kevin Durant being hurt. And
it was a really bad look for the fans in Toronto, and I felt bad. I mean, and then they showed the slow-mo of the injury. Which did you guys see that where it showed?
I couldn't tell anything.
I don't know what an Achilles tearing looks like. Does it look painful when you see it happen? Or?
Well, so it was basically a close-up of like the back of his leg when he went to pivot. And I mean, he's so scrawny, right? Like, you know, when you're normally walking, you can see muscle moving and stuff like that. But for him, the muscle's tight. But then when he plants and pivots, there's like a clear like ripple wave that extends from the bottom of his leg like all the way. And that's just when it gives. And it was kind of nasty to like, and if that was in fact the moment that something like that ruptured or snapped, that was pretty gross.
I saw the video. I couldn't pick out what happened. I didn't see it, but I'm also not a physical therapist like Will is here, which is very nice. But thank you for.
I did a lot of reading up on this.
There were some very technical terms used there.
Yeah,
like Will went over
his upper dorsum,
like ripple. It sort of rippled up a little bit, and then it snapped.
Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty weird though to see, but you feel bad for him. And here's the next question that I have, because this is now kind of a point of contention. So the doctors apparently were saying that he's not ready to go, that he shouldn't push it. He was already dealing with a calf injury, and it could lead to further injury to that leg. And obviously him being the competitor that he is, and the pressure that's coming from the outside of the fans and maybe even internally within the organization, pushing him out to play. If that's you, I mean, do you look back and immediately regret that decision, or do you live with that and say, like, that was the right thing to do because I needed to be out there to help my team?
Well, there's some context there, right? So the series is series was.
They were down.
Coming in, they were down 3-1.
3-1.
They're playing at Toronto, so Golden State's playing away. 3-1. If Toronto wins, that's it. It's over. Kevin Durant's a free agent next year. He can choose where he wants to go. So that's just kind of the context, I guess. That puts it in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
tougher
hindsight
decision.
being 2020, you're going to regret, like, you're going to say, well, I wish I hadn't gone out there and done it.
But
But
do
I
you?
think-
I mean, I think that if you're
I think you
playing,
regret doing anything that leads to an injury like that. But I think you could sleep at night and live with that if it was truly his decision. But Kevin Durant's always been – he's kind of an odd guy, and he's very, very influenced by people around him. So
But I mean, I think that there are
hopefully
people.
it was his decision at least.
I think that there are people out there that would say, even though I got injured, if I had the option, I would do it. I would take that chance again because we were still in a championship run. I'm the best player on the court in basketball, and I have the strength and basically I can turn the tides of this series and we can get a championship.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think that's different than being like if I knew that I was going to get hurt, I would still play that quarter and a half again.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
there and get hurt again.
Would you be willing to take the chance? And I think for a lot of competitors, they would say absolutely.
Yeah, and I think most professional athletes probably do because you probably have to have such a chip on your shoulder and such a competitive spirit to make it to that level. I would hope that, again, it was his decision and that I would imagine that he'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I got to imagine the same thing. But now it calls into question that, and Tyler brought this up, so I guess he's in a contract year or he has the option to move on. Mm-hmm. There's discussions of him leaving, going to New York. Was also floated out there. So it's like you got to look at that and think, man, maybe I am a little bit surprised that he would have pushed that because knowing that he's then going to be up for another contract in their max slot, like did he just jeopardize that or possibly his whole career?
Yeah. I don't think he jeopardized his whole career. I think he's still built off of what he's done. Obviously, I mean, and then with Golden State, it's still been impressive. And I think he's highly regarded as like a top 3 player in the world, in the league.
I would even go so far as to say he is the top player.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into all that argument. I think the debate's still LeBron versus Michael, not Kevin Durant versus Michael. So,
well, I'm just saying
that
greatest of all time. We're saying greatest in the NBA right now. Best single
I would
player.
put him probably ahead of LeBron.
I mean,
at this juncture
he
in their
definitely
career.
had a better season than LeBron. So it depends on what window of time you're looking at.
But I guess so as Kawhi
I would
Leonard.
go with that kid from the Bucks, whose name I can't say.
Antetokounmpo?
Yep.
Giannis?
He's awesome. Giannis. I love him.
Anyway, but I don't know. Back to Kevin Durant's thing. I don't think it. I mean, again, I think to answer your question, when we looked at college ball, people like to say, "Oh, sit out because you're not getting paid." So I do agree that not that he should have. Like Jimmy said, I hope it was his decision and other pressure. I'm sure there's a lot of variables that go into it, and there probably is a lot of pressure to go out there and play and perform. I guess if it was on his own, I'm going to make this. Kevin, here are your options. You make the decision, yes or no, and he did, and. I'm glad he did. I like to see that from athletes. I think we too often excuse athletes. Well, he's holding out for more money. They're holding out because they're not getting paid. They're holding out because they might transfer. There's so many variables I think that rob, and we never know, but like that could rob you from a memorable moment. And the series isn't over. I don't see them pulling it off without him. But he came in, played 11 points. They won by 1. Okay, so maybe someone else on the bench could have got those 11 points. But safe to say, 11 points at least got them over the hump or helped them get there.
Yeah,
so they still could win.
I think you could make the argument that if he hadn't played, that whoever would have replaced him wouldn't have scored 11 points in the time he scored 11 points.
Well, I just think everyone talks about he's a snake. He left to go to the team he couldn't beat when he left Oklahoma City Thunder to go to the Warriors, and now this is more of a selfless. It's selfless because he got injured, and now it's like he's sacrificed, right? Which I guess he still would have sacrificed. He still risked it no matter what, whether he would have got injured or not. But to me, I think this helps his cause a little bit. I think he'll be a little more, he's willing to do what he has to do to make sure a team can win. So granted, now professionally, does that hurt you? I think he's still such a top player, like you were just referencing, that he'll still get top money. A team will still potentially pay him top money, obviously, even if he has to sit out, even if they eat a year of him of being injured and just getting used to it or whatever. I think it hurt. It maybe a couple of million, but I still think he's still valuable enough for someone to secure his contract and his name on their team to still offer him top flight money and just eat a year to make sure they have him for another 4 or 5 years.
Sure. I think there's a really interesting parallel, and it's funny enough they're playing this guy in the series. Kawhi Leonard kind of found himself in a similar situation when he was playing for the Spurs. He was injured, and what's interesting is that the team doctors were telling him, no, you're good to go. Like, according to all of our tests and our evaluations, we would be determining that you are good to play. And I think it was his personal physician or somebody that he had gone for a second opinion, wasn't necessarily on the staff of the team, was saying, no, you need to hold off, you need to wait. And that ultimately, I think, led to the divide between him and the front office of the Spurs, which then led to him leaving and going to the Raptors. So it's kind of interesting because you look back and it's like, well, he preserved his health and is now making a run with a pretty well-built team. I mean, I don't think anybody would argue that it has the star power of Golden State, but preserved his health to live and fight another day, and now he finds himself in the finals. So it'll be really interesting to see if Kevin Durant does decide to leave, if he can come back. And, we were talking about this a little bit prior to the show, if he can even come back and be the same kind of person. I mean, Achilles tear, I think, is what it was. It was officially a tear, I think.
I've just heard Achilles injury. I haven't heard anything specific.
Yeah, I don't think he's had the MRI yet. Because all the headlines I've seen said that they think it's a tear.
I mean, that's just got to be, especially for a basketball player who's planting and pivoting and moving like that and jumping. I mean, again, I'm not a doctor, but I got to imagine that's got to be a taxing on an injury like that. So you hate to say like, oh, his career's going to be over, but I can't imagine he would come back and be as dominant or as versatile as he has been.
He is guaranteed $31 million next year, whether he plays or not.
Really?
Yeah, he has an option to void his own contract and then become a free agent a year early. But if he decides that the market's not going to give him what he wants, he's owed $31 million fully guaranteed from the Warriors.
So how about this? Knowing that, I definitely would have played. Now, I didn't know that, but
I just found that out. I know in pretty much every sport except football, contracts tend to be fully guaranteed.
No, they're just gambling on that. Well, if I get injured, I'm guaranteed $31 million, obviously, but that's a nice net to fall into. To not have to lead or anything or sacrifice, you still get some money. Hey, I've rested a year, albeit I'm coming back injured. I think that would still be, there would be some curiosity about him then. Maybe resting a year on the Golden State bench in a good franchise with, Steve Kerr being around that pedigree, being around Steph Curry. Yeah. I think that, and
I gotta have to imagine that Steve would probably be a pretty big advocate for him because it's well documented that Steve Kerr's dealt with a lot of back pain and back issues, and he even took his own time off to try and get rehabbed. So if they want to maintain or I should say retain Kevin, I think that would probably be the best spot for him to be injured on.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's no way they're going to cut him because if nothing else, they can look to. I think he could veto trades this year, if I'm reading this correctly. So they could try and trade him next year and try and get somebody to eat into that cap hit.
Yeah.
So they're not going to cut him because the money's fully guaranteed, so they'd get absolutely nothing for him. Mm-hmm. So it's not even a concept of whether they want him around to be around Kerr or anything. It's going to be.
Here you go.
They might try and trade him and say, well, somebody take,
They
we'll
trade
pay $20 million. Will you pay him $10 and you can have him? But then that's a 1 year, and then he's an unrestricted free agent. So I don't know who in the world would
be willing to
do
pay
that.
The Pelicans.
I didn't know.
The Golden State gets Zion Williams for the first overall pick.
And all or nothing type of player push, maybe. If somebody thinks that we're just one player away.
The Hawks.
But he's not going to. That's a full year injury. So, like, in an absolutely perfect world, he might be able to come back for the final series next year, right?
That's a good point. It's a year.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it'd be one thing if it had happened, at the beginning of the playoffs, and it's sort of the thing where...
I didn't even think about that. When I think you're injured, I think you automatically come back next season. Like, we're thinking he's going to... I guess not true.
It's just so late in the process. I mean, Adrian Peterson tore his ACL
I was just thinking about that.
December?
But that's the anomaly. That's the anomaly.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, dude, maybe he just has freak genes and a freak body and heals himself like Wolverine.
I don't even know anything about an ACL versus an Achilles in terms of recovery time and stuff like that.
We'll have to get Dr. Brent Johnson on the air and ask him.
Well, I didn't tear mine, but I actually had tendonitis in my Achilles tendon.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get that from kicking or pitching?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know if it was related to either. But it wasn't when I was like hitting the growth spurt or anything. It was like 8th grade, 9th grade. Mm-hmm. Man, it hurt.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never had anything with my Achilles before.
Anytime you'd, like, for baseball, it was the worst because you'd hit the ball and be like, man, I got to run now. Yeah. And, like,
Hit out of the ball.
That's how I feel when I play kickball.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now when I play intramural kickball.
Basically anything I do with running.
Yeah, just try and kick a home run.
Maybe it was just running. I'm not sure.
Out.
But, yeah, it hurt, like, every step. And you would know it, too. You'd be like, oh, I crushed that ball. God dang it. Now I got to run all the way to the
Wish I would have just struck out.
Yeah. Huh. So, I can't even imagine what a tear is like. That's a whole nother level. But an injury in one of those places, it's kind of like your back, right? You always feel it. Everything you do.
Your back is most of your body.
You know?
So if it hurts your back, your life sucks until your back doesn't hurt anymore.
So every step you take, every move you make,
I'll be watching.
It'll be bothering your Achilles. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think for any torn ligament or tendon, I think just like the rule of thumb is roughly 12 months. But you have guys that take longer. You have guys that take shorter. I mean, the thing he has going for him is that's literally his career, and his entire job is going to be to rehab. I mean, he could do it 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, versus, somebody that tears their ACL playing church league basketball. It's probably going to be more than a year before they're fully back from that.
Yeah, it's tough too. Church league basketball. I mean, that's like $60s of dollars.
That's no joke. Yeah, seriously, and that money's not guaranteed. They'll cut you, and you'll lose your investment.
That's the true love of the game right there. I want to put it all on the line.
Does insurance cover that, dude? Church league basketball,
health insurance.
Okay,
if you work for someone,
there you go. Hey, employer.
That was just like general insurance that David does.
Yeah,
totally
all insurance questions.
What's that? Hey, Mr. Employer, I tore my ACL playing church league basketball. Does our coverage the entry fee to church league basketball? Do I get my $60 back? Can I claim that as a loss?
No. We'll have to ask Ed Freeman State Farm.
But if you do it at work, you'll get anything and everything covered.
That's true too. I've always heard if you're gonna die on the job, so your family gets like
hurt yourself at work.
Paid.
Yeah.
Workers' comp does not have a limit. It will pay.
If you hurt yourself at work and nobody saw it, go find a camera and hurt yourself again.
But so back to the Warriors and the Raptors. Who do you think wins? I guess
I gotta go with the Raptors at this point. Losing KD,
it's 3-2.
It's 3-2.
Heading back to Golden State, the Bay Area, and
how about this? I think that Toronto wins this game and wins it in 6. If Golden State steals Game 6, I think they win Game 7 too.
In Toronto, that'd be spicy.
Yeah.
Wait, you think if Golden State takes this next one, they're going to win?
I would bet. I'm going to bet money on the Raptors in Game 6. But if I lose that money, I'm going to double down my bet on the Warriors in Game 7.
I like that.
Sound like Eric over here, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think that's.
I played trivia with Eric last week. So
I feel like that's like a spot on.
Up on my betting lingo.
A spot on it, because I feel like if you have that momentum shift, and I just think
it's got to be so demoralizing to
be.
And you think about at the end of Game 5 to be literally 1 point away. Like how many guys in the locker room? Like I missed a free throw, I missed a layup, I missed a jump shot. Like that was me. I was any single shot that would have gone different.
Yeah, and before
I missed an assignment playing defense.
Before we even get to the point where this doesn't become a reality, while we're in this bubble of before Game 6 and 7, there's only been one team to obviously ever come back from a 3-1 deficit in the finals, which was LeBron James Cavaliers, which is LeBron James' only championship in Cleveland, which is pretty special and cool against Golden State. Yeah. So it would almost be a little poetic.
We were joking Golden about State that. Maybe Golden State spotted them the 3 games because they wanted to get rid of those memes. And they're like, you know what? We blew a 3-1 lead, so we'll go take it.
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, it's got the drama of it all with KD and everything else. Even Clay had some injuries. So, I mean, it's going to be fun.
I think they're going to live and die by Steph Curry because I know when we were watching Game 4 last Friday, they couldn't get anything going because Steph's shots weren't falling. And Steph actually looks pretty silly out there when his shots aren't falling because he takes some ridiculous shots that you get numb to because he always makes them. But when he's shooting 20% from the 3-point line, he looks like us out there playing.
That game
throwing up ridiculous shots in church league basketball.
That Game 4 took a while to get rolling because I mean I felt like
they
were
a long game.
Well, I guess even the Raptors, they would throw up stuff as garbage. Like we were watching it with all of us were here and the roommates that night just hanging out, and it was just. I feel like that whole first quarter was just garbage. People were just throwing up everything.
Yeah.
It was an ugly game.
And they were weird
to a hot game, but
weird like lead changes. Like I think both teams were ahead by teens at different points.
Yeah,
it was real streaky.
The Raptors were up by 12 heading into the fourth, and then really never let it go. But I mean, I'm going with Raptors. That's a safe bet anyway. But I just think that I want the Raptors to win, so that's why I'm going with them. But It's more fun to win it on your home court, and I just don't see. I mean, obviously neither one can. I guess the Raptors could do it in Game 7, which is the best. I mean, that's what TV wants, right?
Yeah.
TV wants Game 7. I guess ultimately we want Game 7 because that makes it a fun weekend or a fun event to get everyone together, drink some beers. You know that's the last game. Even if you don't give a damn about the NBA, like most of us don't really watch during the regular season. That's a fun event to be like, okay, Golden State, who everyone hates, the Alabama of the NBA currently, 5 years in a row. Coming back to tie it up 3-3 in the series would be a very fun.
That would be fun. That game would would it be Sunday night?
You got Kawhi, you got Drake. I think he's a small forward for the Raptors. You got all these guys in Toronto. It would be.
His name's Aubrey something, I think, in real life.
Will, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I got the Raptors.
And 6.
Yeah, so I do think that they're going to pull this next one out. However, I'm definitely on board with what Jimmy's saying. If the Raptors do not win this next game, I could see a little bit of panic coming from Toronto and thinking, oh my gosh, we're about to let this slip away. And the Golden State Warriors seizing on the opportunity, they have a lot going for them. Obviously the momentum shift, but they're also playing for KD and playing because he's out and making a statement win and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely on board with Jimmy's prediction of the way this series would go.
Okay. I thought it was interesting. I was reading an article the other day where two people were arguing kind of online about they were saying if it goes to 7 games, does Golden State – let me see if I can phrase this right. Does Golden State have – like it basically is momentum a thing in professional sports? Or they're saying like is Game 7 going to be a standalone event where the odds of – because somebody was like, I don't think they'll win 3 in a row because it's so hard to win 3 in a row. And then somebody else was like, well, if they win 2 in a row, now that's behind. So their odds of winning 3 in a row is their odds of just winning the next one.
It's funny you mentioned
It's all totally self-contained.
I don't know if you saw Steph Curry's interview afterwards when, I forget her name, with the female, Linda or something.
Ayesha Curry.
No, not his girlfriend or wife. Anyway, some woman comes up from TNT, whomever, and she's interviewing him. She's like, well, what did you think about this game? How'd you approach it? He said, we just knew we had to win one. Just win one game, and then we'll play them. I mean, it was obviously game by game, but it was actually kind of refreshing to hear someone at that stage back against the wall. Obviously, like I guess, what was it, last year's MVP? Maybe this year's, whatever. Anyway, just hear Steph Curry, one of the greats, but like we just had to come out and win a game. That's it. Like we couldn't be bigger than that. It couldn't be scarier than that. We just had to win.
Yeah.
I think he said we knew we could win one.
That's what Steve Kerr said.
Almost
he's like, we're not focused on winning 3.
Yeah,
focused on winning one. Because if we don't win one, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
I look at it as it's 3-1. It's like all these shots are going to matter. It's like they should play that game. And I mean, by 1 point, by their teeth, but.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what you have to look at. It's just every game is totally self-contained, and don't let the game get too big for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an exciting series. I'll be sure to tune into the next game. I mean, I'm not.
It's tomorrow night, I think, at 9 o'clock. I don't like when they're on the West Coast because games don't start till 9 on a work night.
That's tough.
Yeah.
But we're getting old.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think everybody would probably echo the sentiment that, like, we're not huge NBA fans, but when the series is this exciting, this interesting, there's this much drama, I'm sure that everybody will be tuning in. So I'm looking forward to that.
You want to talk about Zion at all?
Nope.
Yeah,
you can go ahead.
We got the NBA draft hasn't happened yet. I think it's a week from
He's
tomorrow.
probably going to go number 1.
Yeah. We can have a debate about who's going to go number 1 overall.
I don't know who else could go number 1.
I will say this. I was pleased to see a small market team in New Orleans get the number 1 pick just because that at least gives me some faith that it's not all like somehow quasi-rigged because if LA or New York, I think they were outside the top 10 in odds of the number 1 pick, but that they ended up being both in the top 4 in down the stretch. I was sitting there talking to Spencer, and I was like, man, if LA or if New York ends up with this number 1 pick to get Zion, this generational player, like I don't even believe in these ping pong balls as fake news. Nobody gets to watch them bounce.
I agree.
Just a bunch of guys in a room that all say it happened.
Yeah, I agree from that aspect. I don't know. It's obviously more fun when a player like that goes into a team when you can actually watch them on TV.
But I think Zion's building a brand enough that
but
the Pelicans may get more primetime games just because of him.
It'll take a while. And maybe you're right, but I guess when's the last time you saw Pelicans play on TV?
When was the last time you saw Cleveland play when LeBron wasn't there? And all of a sudden they're a big market team when he goes
the Pelicans have Anthony Davis. He's a top 10 player.
Yeah, he's a top 10 player, but I think, well,
he's certainly better than Zion Anthony Davis right now is certainly better than Zion will be next year.
That's probably true.
I definitely
but I think
agree with
people,
that.
it's always about like the shiny new toy when it comes to sports and stuff like that. Like I think the Cardinals next year will probably get more press than they really deserve with the state of their roster and stuff because of Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I think there's just certain personalities and certain people.
I hope you're right. I feel like I don't know of. Granted, again, we're not big NBA fans, but I just don't know of many rookies that have swayed a TV. Swayed the NBA into showing more Pelicans games over. They have a few more to choose from with the NBA. You have Boston. I guess you got LeBron. You got LA. You got the Golden State Warriors. You're even going to have possibly Toronto. You're sacrificing one of these definitely big time going to grab eyes on a Monday night.
Yeah, but to that point, I'll say that the major thing that people have a problem with in the NBA is that there's very little disparity between the teams, and it's almost a predetermined outcome for postseason, right? Unless you suffer catastrophic injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact is like we already know where the major players are, and you're pretty much going to see them in the postseason.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Do they really give up much room to let anyone else on a big time TV does?
Well, that's why I think they would. I mean, I think that's why
you think they're starving for that.
I think that they would. I mean, I think it's better for the
fans
sport.
I don't know if the networks are. The networks and the TVs would probably rather have it be Boston versus LA all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, so Zion number 1 to the Pelicans.
Yeah. Zion to the Pelicans.
Either way,
the Hawks have picks 8,
7 or
12 or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Georgia basketball is less back than it was a month ago because
I forget. No, the guy who's a junior, or he left. Whoever
Claxton,
it was.
our center, decided to go pro. So I don't believe we have a guy with any game experience on the roster over 6'8", which is not ideal.
Okay.
I think we've got a freshman coming in, and we've got a grad.
Basketball's a game of tall people.
Yeah, we've got a freshman coming in that's like 6'11".
Not in college.
I think we've got a grad transfer that is like 6'11". But I mean, if we're going big and our center is like 6'7", 6'8",
that's fair.
That's not going to get you too far in the tournament.
Well, I got some eligibility if you need, a guy on the post.
Yeah.
I'll throw some bows.
I just would like to see Georgia win a tournament game. I've never
It would be fun.
seen that happen in my fandom. We went to the tournament and lost immediately to Michigan State in 2015.
Oh, you mean that big dance? I was thinking the SEC.
No. Well, I would take an SEC tournament
Aim big.
game win, honestly.
Think bigger, Tyler.
Yeah.
That's true.
Or I guess we beat Florida this year. That's pretty cool. I think between Florida, Kentucky, and Tennessee would be the 3 of the better teams in the East. It'd be fun to go it'd be fun to beat all 3.
There are no divisions in basketball.
Okay,
well, basketball.
I don't care about that because I'm going to still think about it like that.
Okay.
Do you play any teams twice, or do you just?
I think you play everyone twice.
I don't think you play everyone twice, but some you play twice and some you play once. I know Kentucky played Tennessee. I know Kentucky played Tennessee twice last year because they split, and then Tennessee beat them in the tournaments. Tennessee was 2-1 against Kentucky last year.
Maybe you're right.
But
sorry, maybe you're. I think
if we play all of them twice, I think it almost has to do with the clout of your team going it. I think the better teams tend to play the better teams twice, and the worst teams tend to play the worst teams twice. But you play everyone once, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Brenton's probably losing his mind right now because none of this is probably correct, and I have no idea.
I do not know about SEC
Brent,
basketball.
Make a Twitter and tweet at us about this stuff.
Georgia's back.
Georgia is so back.
The Hawks are going to be back.
But less back than we were before Claxton decided to remain in the NBA draft. Yeah. But either way,
speaking
for him.
Speaking of championship series, the NHL Stanley Cup Final.
I got nothing for that.
Have you guys watched any of those games?
I watched one period of Game 3.
David. I know it's the Blues.
David,
producer Dave, he gave up on it?
The only other person here that likes to watch hockey, and you haven't watched the single game.
How far did the Preds make it in the playoffs?
They didn't.
They didn't make the playoffs at all?
Well, they got beat by the Stars.
In the first round?
Yeah.
All right, playoffs, baby. Smashville.
So, yeah, I know. I've been a bad NHL. I've been a bad everything fan.
David's been buying houses and stuff. We can give him a break.
Yeah.
Well, look.
I went to Rooms to Go yesterday. I racked up.
There you go.
It's Boston versus St. Louis. St. Louis, I feel like, is such... Well, I guess the Cardinals have won Super Bowls recently. I don't think of them as a big sports city.
The Rams?
You mean
the greatest show
the
on
baseball
turf?
Cardinals?
Yeah.
It means the city of St. Louis.
The city of St. Louis, I'm talking about.
Oh, I said the Cardinals have won Super Bowls recently.
Or did I say Super Bowls? Yeah. World Series. Sorry. So
way.
I don't know.
I don't know. Look,
honestly, Atlanta might be approaching the longest. We had
Atlanta United.
Listen to Jimmy say we. Oh, you meant Atlanta United? I thought
In
you were
terms
going
of
to
like,
in
terms of a city having a championship drought.
And the Dream won it like 2015.
All right, so
Atlanta and the Georgia Swarm are like indoor
Unstoppable
lacrosse.
All right,
champions.
Atlanta is so back. Buffalo, New York, you are on the clock.
Yeah.
I think that's the longest drought now.
I don't know. I watched a couple.
Toronto is technically Buffalo, so they could end that. I think they combine their sports teams for the sake
Do
of
they?
championships. They're across the river
What?
from each other or something.
Just making up our own rules over
That's
here now.
ridiculous.
I know most Bills fans are like Blue Jays and Raptors fans.
I mean,
I think they
that
share
makes
fan
sense.
bases.
But you can't lump two completely different cities together and be like, yeah, those are our championships now
Yeah,
too.
I guess that's fair.
We're close enough.
Well, I feel like some,
That's so
some
dumb.
California teams do that, don't they?
Well, California's the worst, so
Okay.
Like Golden State is in Oakland, but I bet you most of those people are San Francisco fans, not Oakland fans.
Yeah. So I bet they pick and choose. I mean, hell, look
I
at
bet they're not.
Chicago's the
I bet
same
they're
way,
not
aren't they?
A's fans.
Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, because like
Well,
we don't have the
only
benefit.
have-
We don't have the benefit of having like two MLB teams or anything. But like Chicago, you're going to get White Sox or Cubs, right?
But I think Chicago
And
is
then you're gonna be
divided enough
Blackhawks.
on that. Like a Cubs
Yeah,
fan wouldn't
yeah.
root for the White Sox.
Absolutely
They would
not.
root again. That's like Auburn, Alabama type stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying I mean,
and you have diehard fans on both sides. I mean, I would say that the Cubs definitely have a bigger following, but you have people that are hardcore White Sox fans. It's like Mets and Yankees.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. No,
just
I get
like
it.
the Yankees have a
I guess
much
it just
bigger
it,
following.
it helps them now. To Boston's credit, they don't have to worry about double dipping like this. But a city like that can say, well, our streak is longer because we have two of these, two of those,
Yeah.
We have the Knicks and I guess they claim the Nets. Like other thing, they had the New York Giants and New York Jets, and they both play in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So all Jersey people are just
I
Giants or
think
Jets
the
fans?
New York people
I never
tend
thought
to be
about that, I guess.
Giants fans, but the New Jersey people tend to be Jets fans, even though they share a stadium.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
I
that
guess it's
also
just like where you're from.
That also aligns with their loyalty to the baseball teams as well, Mets or Yankees. I've
So
heard
are
that
Mets-
most
I've
Giants.
never met a Mets fan in
Are
my life.
Mets
Really?
fans
No.
then
Pathetic.
Jets fans and Giants
think
fans
so.
are
Giants,
yes,
Yankees.
That is obnoxious.
Yeah, you talk about being able to hate somebody.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, you're a Jets and I'm a Cowboys, Cardinals baseball,
Oh, you're talking
Yankees.
about, you're talking about your
football.
friend Eric Ruffin
Yeah.
over there.
Oh, that's interesting how that all panned out there for you, Eric. I was more in USC when the Pete Carroll years, and then I was like, geez.
We haven't got work like that. We always make fun of him. He says his favorite players are Tom Brady, LeBron James, Steph Curry. kid you not. And so he walks in every
Are you
day,
serious?
And we're like, Roll Tide.
Oh, you have a coworker like
Coworker,
that. I thought you
yeah.
were talking
I thought you
about
were talking
Eric.
about it. I was
No,
like,
no,
no
no.
way.
We have a
I was like,
coworker like
Eric doesn't
that.
like
We
those
just tell him,
guys.
hey, Mike, Roll Tide.
That's
man.
obnoxious.
Because
You-
all of his favorite teams are the best teams. I'm a Lakers fan.
I
I'm
have-
a Golden State fan too, and I like the Patriots.
I have a very little respect for
Yeah, I
you
don't
when
like
it comes
that. What's
to
this
sports.
guy's name? Mike?
Mike.
Uh-oh.
And
That's my dog.
We are
The
releasing the
house dog is seeing a bad guy. You want to take care of this, Will?
Maisie? Hey, stop. Sorry.
All right, it is taken care of.
Yeah. So stop it. So yeah,
Today's mascot.
Game 7 of hockey tomorrow
Is it
night.
coming up?
Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. I'm actually pulling for the Blues again. I'm not a St. Louis fan by any means. I'm a Cubs fan.
You're rooting
and
against Boston.
I just can't. I do
I
not
respect
want
that.
Boston to have another championship parade. I hate seeing the signs of these little kids being like, "I'm in 20 parades."
Yeah.
Since I've been
9 years
alive.
old.
And I
Well,
know.
they would be if they win that, they'd be defending World Series, Super Bowl, and Stanley Cup champions all at the same time.
Boston Red Sox won the World Series last year.
Red Sox are defending World Series champs, aren't they?
Yes.
Well, we're
Producer
sports
Dave?
fans.
Yeah, they are.
We call ourselves sports fans.
Yeah.
Let's see. Last year was 2018 World Series champions. Were your Boston Red Sox? Yep.
Called it.
Jeez.
So yeah, I can't
Yeah,
stand
I'm with you.
Boston.
I'm totally with you on that.
I do not want to see them win another championship. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But anyways, don't want to spend any more time on the hockey because we do have to get on and talk about, of course, women's sports like soccer. Middle of the Women's World Cup.
Women's soccer is so back.
Well, it never went away.
Well, yeah, it's actually been here the whole time.
Yeah.
It's not a comeback.
You
at all.
wouldn't know,
Yeah.
but They just dropped 13
Yep.
on, who is it? Like
Thailand. Yeah, so today's U.S. women's national team, it was our
funny
first
enough
game.
where their jerseys are made.
Our first game of this U.S. Women's World Cup, a couple of games before. I think it started on Saturday. So our first game was today in Group F versus Thailand. And yeah, so we miss women, 13-0, most goals scored ever in a single game for a World Cup women's. Most goals scored in
largest margin of victory as
largest
well.
margin of victory. Most goals scored in second half, which was 10. We scored 10 in the second half.
Oh, it was only 3-0.
Yeah, in the first half. Alex Morgan scored 5.
Did they change the keepers?
No. Alex Morgan.
They're like, we're going to ride this wave.
Alex Morgan only tied the keeper was probably 5'0". It was it's women's soccer. It's hard to pick from, especially in Thailand, something like that. And Alex Morgan scored. I mean, it's
pretty familiar with that women's soccer demographic.
Well, I mean, think about it. If you want tall people, I don't think Thailand comes on the list of tall population
person.
And then Alex Morgan scored 5, which ties the record for most goals scored in a single game by a single player, which is actually held by another U.S. player. I can't remember her name. Also, funny thing, so the U.S. women scored 13 goals in today's game. The U.S. men's national team have scored 13 goals in the whole calendar year.
That's definitely why they deserve to be paid the same.
In a bunch of friendlies or in a bunch of
I guess that was a stat. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess not the U20s and all that stuff. Just counting the A team men's national team haven't scored 13 goals in a whole calendar year, and our women scored it today. Anyway, but it does make it exciting. I know soccer is a huge sport for us, and then on top of that, I know people will give flack to women's soccer because it's not quite as competitive, similar to the WNBA or women's tennis or whatever you want to say. I understand that, but just to see U.S. on the world stage, which is not typically our thing when it comes to soccer, our women dominate, and it is kind of fun for us to watch. It's fun for us to be the Golden State Warriors, the Patriots, or something to that effect. And I mean, whenever you get to watch your country play, whether it be the Olympics or whatever else, if you're going to pull for the Olympics and watch women's ice skating or God knows what, why in the hell do you give? But I'm seeing I see it on social media all day. People give it so much flack for the U.S. women's team. Yeah. Not that I waited for this moment, but it's still, when it's on, it is fun to watch because of how good we are. And then obviously Alex Morgan's playing, and that's not bad. When she scores 5 times, that's a lot of camera time. So when she scores, we score, everyone wins.
Did Kelly O'Hare score?
She did not.
Okay,
but Alex Morgan,
she'll get him next time.
Alex Morgan, all 5 of her goals were all. She had 5 shots, 5 goals, 2 assists. I mean, the girl was playing out of her mind. So
jeez,
dude,
it was fun to watch.
Can't pick somebody better to be the face of
seriously.
A women's.
Super attractive.
She is
really good. I mean, she's been doing it for a couple of years now too. So she's not like a newbie on the scene. So she
also seems just fun. A bro.
Yeah,
like down to earth.
I've seen her on Jimmy Fallon or something before. She seemed pretty nice.
That's cool.
They're running. I think it's because they're airing a lot of the Women's National Cup on Fox. And they're airing a little segment of her going around doing it, showing her when she grew up playing soccer at 6 and stuff. It's pretty fun.
That's cool
to watch her. And obviously they're interviewing her in regular clothes, not just wearing a jersey out there, shin guards and stuff. And she's
she cleaned up well.
So
nice.
Shout out Alex Morgan. She's a listener. She listens.
Shout out Alex Morgan. Anyway, when we play next versus, I believe it's Sweden, but it's next Wednesday on the 16th.
I think we play
it's Sunday. It's Sunday
and then Sweden
at noon, and then Sweden, I believe.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think the game against Sweden is on a Thursday at 3:00. I don't love that. That's the worst part about group play during the World Cup. There's so many games they can't have them all during prime time.
Right. I just throw it on.
It stinks to be at work. And
I throw it on the bottom corner of the monitor, or on my phone or something, just to have it rolling, so you can catch a little bit of it, just to speak to it. Like I said, it's because we score so much and we're so dominant. It actually is a fun game to see us so often score in a soccer game that otherwise it doesn't have a lot of scoring like football and basketball.
Should get an American Pylon group viewing for when we get into
I'm down for that. I like that suggestion for sure.
It's a
chance to be patriotic and it's fun.
I sent that on our group text today, and Reese sent the gift from Superbad where Michael Cera's he's like, chill out, man. It's soccer. It's soccer. It was just pretty funny.
Yeah. Speaking of soccer,
I do want to watch it.
Actually, one of my coworkers, I didn't know this until a couple of weeks ago. Her boyfriend is actually the backup keeper for Atlanta United.
It's pretty exciting.
Which is pretty
cool.
Do
you know his name?
Brendan something or other. He's actually traveling with the team for the first time this week because Guzan is out. So he might get a shot to play.
Okay. So he's third string? I
Yeah,
guess.
well, yeah, because
it's him and
Alec Kahn is second string technically. But
so he might get a shot. I think they're playing in Charleston.
we're playing tonight, Charleston Battery.
Really?
Yeah, it's the U.S.
Is that
Well, we're
one of those
playing-
things where like MLS plays not MLS?
Yeah,
I can't
it's,
imagine Charleston would have an MLS.
It's not.
team.
It's the
Okay.
USL. It's called United Soccer League, I believe is what it's called. And
Is that what
anyway,
United
it's
2
the
is in?
second tier. It's the second tier. No, that's sorry, gets confusing. No,
very
it's not.
confusing.
Yeah, it is. It's complicated. Basically, what we're playing in tonight right now is called the U.S. Open Cup. It's the America. It's actually the oldest soccer tournament in the world, I believe, which is kind of or still going, longest ongoing without a break, I guess. There's a caveat there. Anyway, it is like all MLS teams are in, and then I think basically the way they play is all these smaller little affiliated soccer leagues play a little knockout round robin kind of thing all the way up until they get to play the MLS teams.
Didn't they do that at Kennesaw?
So last year we played in
you
Kennesaw.
and I went to
Yeah.
that game.
That was fun.
For some
Them
reason,
versus, it might have been Charleston. Actually,
it was. We played them all 3 years.
Okay,
Cool.
so
some
they've
reason.
won the whole thing, and they get to play us,
they
and then
won-
we just knock them out.
Yeah,
That's
so
that.
basically look at the bracket as like there are like 200 teams. And so all those smaller teams play to where they play up to the USL teams. And then they eventually get knocked out to where there's just the USL teams playing the MLS teams.
So we could have like a rec league
and then
team.
eventually, yes, you can. And then essentially. And then eventually the USL teams, unless they're good, like a Cinderella story, kind of like the NIT tournament. Or not kind of like the
that's
best
what I was
way to
gonna
look
say.
at it is
it's like
March
the automatic
Madness.
bids in March Madness.
But look at March Madness as there's like a 2-month-long tournament that you never see. That's never televised. All these small little like Brookhaven FC teams that are playing. They try to play up into this. Now, obviously, they
kinda
rarely
cool.
can, but they could make it to where some little
But that's cool.
no Joe Blow team that a bar made up could end up playing Atlanta United just because they made it that far.
pretty
Obviously,
neat.
that's not going to happen. The resources, the training, the coaching, all that kind of crap. But that's what this tournament is, where your coworker's boyfriend could be playing. So
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
pretty cool.
yeah, soccer is fun. It gets confusing. All leagues have that around the world. There's just different tiers of tournament where they'll rest their players and let other guys play. I think it's just a way to develop the players and rest players and stuff, but still have fans sell seats and tickets and
I
everything.
remember
So
having that explained to me about the Champions League.
Champions League, the Premier one.
Yeah,
But
in the Premier League, I think in England. But
Yeah.
we had Liverpool won their championship.
that was exciting. UEFA Champions League this year. We kind of have a little bit of a not emotional, but a little more personal tie to it because Jimmy and a few of the guys we went to Europe last year. We were there. And then we've talked about it before, but Real Madrid won the UEFA Champions League. They
how much time you got?
They actually beat Liverpool, and then we got to go to Madrid the next day. Got to enjoy in their parade,
Which is very,
their
very
Super
cool.
Bowl parade, which is really fun to see. Like Cristiano Ronaldo and Zidane and those guys like up there with the trophy. And then Liverpool made it back again this year, and they beat Tottenham. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to sound like an idiot because I think I'm wrong, but I think this is their first ever Champions League.
I thought I read it was like their fifth.
It's either their
but
first
maybe they
Champions
haven't in a
League or
long
they've
time.
never won the Premier League. It's one of the two or something like that. It's something odd like that.
I think they've never won the Premier League
I
because
can
I
look
feel
that
like
up to
I've
confirm,
seen Manchester United fans put stuff on
Yeah.
Facebook about that. I
That's
know
where I get
there's
that
a Liverpool has like a fan base here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
They have like a bar and they go watch games and stuff. And I know when they go to Atlanta United games, you know how like the stadium will be like
Mm-hmm. told me
Atlanta
this.
United. They won't say United. They'll like turn their back on the cheer because I don't know.
Or they'll be like, Atlanta.
Oh yeah, they'll say Atlanta instead, or like, and they won't say they're going to a United game. They're saying they're going to an Atlanta game. Like they do everything they can to avoid
For
saying
which team
the
is
word.
this?
Liverpool fans in Atlanta will not say the word United
because they
because
hate
Manchester
Manchester
United is their main rival over in. So I don't know. It'd
That's
be like if
dumb.
we were living in like London and they got in like our
Said roll
our
tide.
team. Yeah, our team
Roll.
got
Dogs.
like a rival team. I'm getting confused in even the parallels.
I don't know. I don't see any. There's a lot of other soccer clubs that have United after them.
There are a ton.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm not
pretty
sure how
common.
that translates whatsoever to
I
Atlanta
think it's just
United.
that their Atlanta team is United and they hate Manchester United. Or
Yeah, I think that's all it is, simply.
it'd be like if we found a little club American football team if we were living in London and then we were and it was called the London Crimson Tide. So we
Yeah.
would be like, oh, I'm going to the London game, but I don't want to say I'm a Crimson Tide fan. It's just like a silly thing they do.
That's fair.
I think it's just kind of
There
fun.
you go.
Sports are fun.
Anyway, yeah. So, but that helps me carry over because I did play soccer growing up. So I like soccer. I like the kind of the attraction of it all because it's the biggest tournament in the world, essentially, outside the World Cup. The Champions League is.
Yeah.
As
Is
far
it
as around
more?
the world.
This is probably an ignorant American question to me, but is it more viewed than the Super Bowl?
That I
in
do
the
not
world?
know. I would
I'd be interested to
I'm
see
Is
that.
what more viewed?
the
The
Champions
UEFA
League.
Cup champion.
I don't know.
You're talking about a single event, a single game.
As a
the
single
final.
event, is the final of the UEFA Cup, the Champions League in Europe, more viewed than because I know the
I
Super
would
Bowl is a
bet.
pretty big international event.
I would
People
think
watch
that
it.
it probably is.
I don't know.
You know, the
That one's
NBA
tough.
Finals, low key, is probably one of the top 5 viewed
there.
events because they love
So-
the NBA in China,
Mm-hmm.
which just has so many people.
Yeah.
So I don't know what
That's
the
a good
TV
point.
situation is
I
there.
don't know. I mean, because like UEFA is strictly the European teams. It's not the World Cup that everyone's watching.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a part of the world too.
Yeah.
But, and a select few are top flight, top tier. Where like once your team gets knocked out, do you really care? I don't know. I mean, it's fun for us to watch. It's much better soccer than what we have over here. But anyway, that was fun. And then I guess back to how we got into this U.S. women's team. Looked to be good. I'm sure we'll get past the group stage and it gets a knockout round, which will make it really fun. And that's when we get to like the annual powers are like France, Brazil, Japan.
The most
all
viewed
that.
event on one time in television history was the Apollo 11 moon landing.
Wow.
Well, there you
It's
go.
pretty interesting.
Did you see actually Forbes today released the top 10 paid athletes?
Is Floyd Mayweather still number one?
He was
by a
not. So
mile?
it's by a year. It's
'Cause
each
he didn't
year.
fight
So
this
this year,
year?
no, he didn't fight this year. Which last year he was by a mile. This year the top 3 were soccer players. It was Messi, Ronaldo, and Neymar.
They're the
Really?
top earning.
You know, Neymar is out for the Copa Americana. Did
Yeah,
you hear about?
he
Is
tore
he
his
injured or
Achilles.
is he?
He
Doesn't
tore
he
it.
have some legal trouble going on?
He has a lot of that going on.
Okay.
They said
Yeah.
something like they said his value is tanked like miserably. So
Really?
if you're a soccer fan and you like buying jerseys, do not buy a Neymar jersey. He's got some edgy stuff coming out about him. And our mascots today on the podcast are dog fighting.
These dogs are sisters, and the little one's getting bullied.
Yeah, we're getting Michael Vick back here. It looks like it's kind of
Okay. I'm still trying to find whether the Super Bowl is more viewed than the UEFA Cup. So I'll cut back in. What else we got
before
to talk
the wheels
about?
fall off? Will, what else we got?
Yeah, I mean, the last thing that I really wanted to address was the French Open. I don't know if you guys talked a whole lot about that, not talked about it, but watched any of it. Nadal won again. It's his 12th title on clay. He is clearly the most dominant player on that surface of all time. And there was actually, I can't even remember who the winner of the women's tournament was, but I mean, the big news was that Serena got knocked out pretty early. And I don't know if you guys followed that storyline at all, but she was actually on her way off the court after an early exit at Roland Garros, and she was being ushered towards the press room, and there was another player, Thiem, Thiem was his last name, was actually in the team.
You said he
Yeah,
or she?
he.
It's a male performer. It's a male tennis player.
Yes.
Okay.
So he actually made a deep run. I think he actually went to the finals and lost. But essentially what happened is Serena was getting impatient. She was like, I just lost. I want to get this press conference over with. And they booted out Thiem from the conference room and sent him off to like this little bitty side room so that Serena could have her moment. And he was commented and saying, like, I think that's really unprofessional. I think it shows that she has a bad personality. And then you had all these hot takes. Probably the most notable was from the wise women on The View, and talking about how that was an inappropriate thing for him to say. But yeah, I mean, I think this is just another example of Serena kind of being a diva and taking and making an issue out of things that don't need to be there and existing. I don't know. Did you guys follow the storyline at all?
Not at all. I literally
You didn't hear that at all?
Not on my radar.
Really?
We just know you don't like Serena, so when you texted us to say Serena's being a diva,
I don't blame you. I mean, I
just
think she's been known to have an attitude. I mean, to me, I think if I hear that, if she demanded that and kind of got her way, that's aggravating. But at the same time, like any other sport, to me, it's what puts butt in seats, right? If it's going to get more viewership, not that people are tuning in at that moment to watch someone give an interview. I understand that. Either watching at that time or you're not. But that's what gets clicks. That's what gets your stuff moving as fast. Whatever she's going to give them, whatever she's going to talk about, whatever kind of reaction they're going to get, they want to get that as soon as they can to get as many clicks as they can and get it up. And I understand that. I get that. If a bigger, better athlete comes because they've marketed themselves well or due to past successes and they kick you out of the room, to me that's just kind of that tough, They've built that. They've built themselves. That they kind of are owed that, and not owed that, but that's what they've created. So I don't have any ill will towards that. But I do agree that her past and some of her other antics doesn't help her. Does not help her in this situation.
Yeah.
But to me, just even male, female, whatever. If the bigger athlete comes through and they want to speak and they want to say something, I have no problem kind of hurrying someone else off just because they've earned that right essentially because they've built their brand based on success or however they marketed themselves.
Yeah, I guess I could see where you're coming from. The only thing I would say to that is there's, I mean, half of those people that day are going to be giving a winner's press conference, and the other half is going to be giving loser's press conference.
Yeah,
and that includes every player, whether you're big time name or not. And the fact of the matter is that everybody has to wait their turn to have a press conference. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure why she's any different. I mean, that happens all the time. If, Roger Federer lost, Nadal won, like he's going to have to give a press conference, and if somebody's ahead of him, he's going to have to wait.
Yeah.
And they asked Federer, and he said as much. And he was like, I think that's probably number one, really poor planning on the tournament's part, but number two, I just don't think that that's like an appropriate thing to do.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, everyone gets a fair share, right? I mean, if you're doing that, but I don't know. I mean, bigger athletes are always going to get more of the fair, more publicity, more whatever. So I agree with you. I mean, I think if everyone loser and winner, and if someone else is going to wait, then why shouldn't you? You're no bigger than him, certainly.
I guess this is just additional ammunition to fuel my dislike for Serena Williams.
Yeah,
I'm not as fired up about it, but
grasping at straws.
I think that the world of women's tennis will be infinitely better when she retires.
Ooh, strong words.
That is a hot take.
I don't think that that's even necessarily coming from a personality standpoint. I think that she has dominated the sport for so long, and just the fact that her physical abilities lend herself to basically overtaking the court and imposing her will on other players. So I think that there will be more disparity in women's tennis. I think that we'll see more competitive matches and probably see more exciting matches if you follow tennis.
Just like for the super casual fan, if you didn't call me that, I'd rather have someone like that dominates, because that makes it that puts it on my radar. I couldn't tell you who the top one. I know is she Japanese? This is the woman who knocked Serena out last tournament. I know she got knocked out early too. Mm-hmm. She upset Serena, I think, pretty quick, and then she got upset this tournament. But I couldn't tell you. But I know the Williams sisters.
Well, that's like golf for the casual golfer.
Right.
Like golf is more popular when there's one player that's just dominating everybody, like Tiger was in the.
So why I agree with you
as
an avid fan, like we are with football. As a casual fan, it's easier for you to relate when you can say Alabama or whatever. But I think you're probably right. For the diehard fans, people who actually play tennis and keep up with it, you get sick of seeing the same old. I don't think you're an avid female tennis fan. Maybe you're wrong, but
I think the casual tennis, like I will definitely, if I turned on women's tennis and Serena Williams was playing, I'll be like, I'll sit down and root against her because
exactly, and that's probably what I would do too. But it makes you watch it, and
man,
the dogs are back.
These dogs are getting antsy. We might have to wrap this up.
Yeah, I think that's going to about do it for tonight.
I will say the UEFA Cup is more viewed than the Super Bowl, but all of them are dwarfed by the Summer Olympic Games.
There you go. Okay.
All right, now you have it.
And on that note, I want to go ahead and say thanks to all of our viewers out there for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and what else did I say?
Go Dogs.
Yeah, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.